Okay, so main character comes from a fairly broken home, doesn't have necessarily the best relationship with his father or his brother for that matter, and the story is about fighting demons. And he has like the tough boy, I don't really need anyone kind of attitude. Doesn't that seem kind of familiar? Spirit gun! I would take off my shirt, but obviously that's gay. So, anyways, let's go. Yo, what's up guys? InsaneGamefreak here to bring you the Insane Manga Corner for Blue Exorcist. Now, I could have easily have just reviewed the anime. The problem is the anime stops like around volume 4 of the manga. And the manga currently is going into its, probably, in America we just got the 7th volume, probably meaning that Japan is either in its 8th or 9th volume. Obviously it'd be a better idea to review the manga, or talk about the manga than to talk about the anime. Even though a lot of people got into Blue Exorcist through the anime, it's almost a blatant fact that the manga is better just because the manga doesn't fuck you over in so many different ways. Now mind you, I've only read up to volume 6, so I'm only going to talk up to volume 6 material for Blue Exorcist. But let's get into it. So Blue Exorcist starts you off with a character named Rin. Rin is like a Yusuke kind of character. That's the best way to describe him. The only difference is he's a lot more kind-hearted than Yusuke. That's the only difference. Almost everything else he's about the same. He has like this whole roughneck kind of personality. He will fight you if you talk some shit. Like he's like one of those bad boys, quote unquote, but has like a good heart inside. But I think what I like more about Yukio than I do, not Yukio, oh my god. What I like more about Rin than I do Yusuke is that Rin is a lot more middle groundish with his shit. Like he has this Yusuke straight I'm a thug kind of attitude in like the first few chapters, and then he kind of goes from that to, it kind of mellows out into like this weird, I don't know, Rin is very weird. Rin to me is a very weird mix of like him and like Naruto. Rin feels like a mix of Yusuke and Naruto, honestly. Where he's kind of goofy like Naruto, but he still has like this old roughneck, don't you fuck with me, Yusuke kind of attitude. Now, it's a very weird combination, but it works out for him. Now, the whole premise of the show is killing demons, which I think almost, I don't know if, is it just me, but is anyone else getting tired of seeing that over and over again? Like, I don't know what it is, but like in the recent years, they've been doing a lot of damn demon-related fucking shows. Mind you, there's a shit ton of demon-related shows in the, that we've already dealt with. There's a shit ton of these. Like, I'm getting really tired of the Exorcist and the Exorcist and the demon slaying shit. It gets kind of redundant after you deal with it for a little while. So if you're really already watching a demon-related show or a fucking Exorcist-related show, it just depends on what the show is and depends on what you're into. But the premise is that Rin, we find out like in the first two episodes of the anime and like the first few chapters of the manga, he is the son of Satan. Oh no! And being the son of Satan, he isn't aware of this until I believe it's his 16th or 15th birthday, where his blue flames awaken, and he and his father, because he actually lives at a church with his father and his younger brother Yukio, who you would think, Yukio, younger brother, he looks like the stereotypical nerd. And then you get to like episode 3 or 4 in the anime, or like some of the later chapters of volume 1. Don't even try to stereotype Yukio, because Yukio will throw you the fuck off, I swear to God. Anyways, his blue flames awaken, and he has like these, the whole thing is like he's going through like trying to like figure out what he wants to do, because people are like, you should get a job, you should go to school. He's kind of like, I don't really want to do either. He's looking for a job, but he finds one, but he's bad at working, really. Like, because he's overly strong, because son of Satan. But anyways, he ends up getting into a fight with a few guys. I believe it's because they said some shit about Yu-Gi-Oh, or just because they were picking fights with him. I honestly don't remember, because it's really not that important. The only thing that you really need to know is through that fight, his blue flames kind of sort of awaken. while it looks like one of the kids that he was fighting against was like possessed by some demon because he looks all demon-like and shit. And what it boils down to is that his father, as I say, they live in a church, so his father is actually like a father within the church too. His father comes and saves him, gives him this sword that's supposed to stop his power from coming out and shit, so he can still appear human and shit. And if he were ever to open the sword open, like he has to carry the sword on him, but he can never unsheath it, because if he unsheathes it, he turns into straight demon. He will never be able to just have like a straight normal life anymore after that. So if he unsheathes it, he's screwed. Unfortunately, when they get back to the church, Satan at this point is like attacking the church, and the father gets possessed, and Ren, unfortunately, Satan, every time Satan possesses someone, he kills that person, because there's no human that can handle being possessed by the devil, essentially. I don't know, that's the logic, that you cannot handle being possessed by the devil. If you try, you can't. You physically can't. You're being possessed and you have no control over it, so you're going to die. So he's already screwed in that level. But not only do they want to do that, but they also want to drag Ren and his dying father down to hell. So unfortunately, he has to unsheath the sword, meaning his ears become pointed, he grows a tail, and he grows blue flames. And he has to attack the Genna Gate, which Genna really is just hell. Just translate Genna to hell, that's what it is. And that's how it kind of starts off his life, because after that moment, his father's dead, he's at the funeral, he meets this dude named Mephisto who was a friend of his dad's, and he wants to become an exorcist to beat the shit out of his father, aka Satan. And that's kind of the premise of the show. He's trying to become an exorcist, or a paladin to be more specific, to beat the living shit out of Satan. That's the premise of the show. Or his real father, which obviously Ren doesn't regard Satan as his real father. He regards, I believe his name is Father Fujimoto, as his real father. So that's the premise of the show. And it seems pretty straightforward, but honestly, the shock value for those for those to be like the first few chapters or the first few episodes of the anime, that is shock. Actually, everything I explained to you happens in like the first 2 episodes of the anime. Like the first 2 episodes, all that happens in. In the manga, I believe it's see the thing is that Blue Exorcist is a monthly manga, meaning that it has these long ass chapters, but it's actually reality pretty short. I mean, no, it has long ass chapters because of how little it comes out during the year. It comes out maybe like 12 times, like for each of the months. So that's the whole premise. We're introduced to a few side characters. Like we find out his brother has actually been training at the school for a while and is a legit badass, even though all he used to know his little brother for was being kind of a quiet nerd who excelled well in life. He just had that whole confidence issue. And he used to try, the whole big brother, little brother relationship is there. Yukio was nowhere near as nerdy or like geeky as his first impression leaves you, because when you get to that school, Yukio is a straight G. It's like, what the fuck happened? You're also introduced to a few side characters or Ren's fellow classmates. The ones I'm going to name off the top of my head is Suguro / Bond, because he's called Bond by his friends. Shamey, Shima, Konekamaru, I believe is how you pronounce his name, Izumo, and I believe those are the main 5 you really have to deal with in terms of like fellow classmates. There's a few other characters, but there's some plot twists revolving them, and I'm not going to go too far into that. I'm about 6 volumes in, which means I'm into I believe I count this as like probably the 2nd arc in the series. Like we had the introduction stuff, and now we're into the 2nd arc where I'm in the manga. Blue Exorcist isn't fight heavy. I will say that right off the bat, and it's kind of underwhelming for most shonen fans, because it comes off as a series that like should have a lot of fights in it. In the manga, we've had maybe like 2 or 3 main fights. Everything else has been a lot of like exposition and talking and shit. Literally, they do that a lot. There's a lot of exposition, there's a lot of talking. So if you're not invested into the world and you're really just looking for fights, looking for like, it's more talk heavy than fight heavy. It's kind of like One Piece if you take out the fights. It's more exposition than anything else. and it's not bad for it. Like, I don't have any issues with Blue Exorcist being, you know, exposition heavy. It is a little disappointing because the beginning starts out really, really strong with all this character development and introduction to new characters and kind of how the way things work. And I like that aspect, but then they like, what they do is, as soon as you hit the second arc, you're kind of just doing a whole bunch of politics and family matters. Because the second arc revolves around Shima, Konekamaru, and Bone, because those three come from the same village where all three of their families reside. And those, I know Bond in particular, you could call kind of Ren's pseudo rival, because he also wants to beat the shit out of Satan. The reasoning he wants to beat the shit out of Satan is because they had something that happened to them called the Blue Night, which obviously Ren has blue flames, meaning Satan fucked up their village and also killed certain members of each one of their families. I believe Konekamaru lost like both his parents. I believe Shima just lost his mother, and I believe Bone lost, I forget what, or Suguro, I forget what he actually lost. I want to say it was his mother too. I'm not 100% sure, because I mean, you get more exposition within the later volumes of the manga, but it kind of blends together because of the exposition, which is, like, as I said, the biggest problem with Blue Exorcist. It's really exposition heavy, but I think the characters kind of make up for it, because I can tell you almost every quirk most of these main characters have. Ren is like an excellent cook. He just is really like shonenistically stupid, meaning he has no really. It's weird. Because he you know, it's. Let's put it this way. He's appeared to have a crush on Shamie, even though Shamie seems to like go between him and Yukio in terms of like what, because she's very weird. Shamie is very weird for a female lead, and she's not. And when I say female lead, you got to take that term very loosely, because I don't know. It's very weird. This show is very this manga is very weird in the sense that it doesn't necessarily like pick a main character and run with it. I mean, in terms of like, at least in side characters, we would say Shamie's like the leading female because she's the only main girl except for like two others. One is more of a teacher, and the other one is, because Shamie has her own issues she's dealing with. That's the other thing. All these characters have their own problems, and I do like the fact that each one of these characters is developed. Like, Ren is dealing with the whole Satan thing. Shamie's dealing with being a supportive friend on top of her own weirdness and inconsistencies and what she wants to do, and, you know, kind of how, if she wants to become a strong person or not. Izumo is just dealing with the fact that she has like a dickish personality, and she needs to really, and she's kind of working towards actually befriending people and whether she wants to be friends with people. Shima is kind of a pervert, but he's dealing with his own family issues. Particularly, he has like these older brothers who fuck with him a lot. In the beginning, he doesn't get too much development because he's like Moroku from Inuyasha. He's kind of a pervert, and he's pretty straightforward. Suguro's obviously dealing with this whole, he wants to defeat Satan, so he's a rival, so he's kind of going back and forth with that. Also, in the later parts of the manga, we get introduced to his father and his daddy issues. And Konekamaru is very shy and timid. He's kind of like the really, really nerdy boy. He's what you thought Yukio would be, and he's dealing with his own shit because both of his parents are dead. So it's like, he's dealing with that on top of just becoming a stronger person. He's kind of like Shamie in that regard. Except Shamie, I think, has a lot more balls than Konekamaru does. That's just me. I don't know. In terms of villains, we don't really have a main one. We have niggas who fuck with Ren. That's the name of the game. Niggas who fuck with Ren. Whether it be teachers who have had issues with Satan for obvious reasons because he's fucking Satan, or we have Mephisto, the trolling ass teacher, send his little brother to fuck with niggas. Mayan is a fucking beast, even though he kind of gets played down later. But then again, he's not dead, so we don't know what's gonna come with that. But you know, the art style is fucking great. I can say that much. The anime and the manga look exactly the same. So if you've seen any anime pictures of Blue Exorcist, it's almost the exact same art style, which I love. It's not like, for example, Durara's manga, where the characters look pretty significantly different than they do in the anime. The manga and the anime look almost exactly the same, so I think the art style is spot on. I love the use of color for the volume covers. Like, they have like these, it looks like a splash page. You got I know one of the volumes has Shamie on the front. You see these beautiful ass flowers, her chilling there with her, like, I forget what it is, her summoning? I don't remember all the terms, but there's also different classes of Exorcist, and there's different levels of being Exorcist. I believe as of right now, Ren and the others are like X-Wires, and I believe you have different types of Exorcists you can become. The one Ren is aiming for is a Paladin, and I forget the other ones because Ren is the only one that really matters. At least the one I was really paying attention to. Those that I don't think the other ones have like straight up picked one yet. And if they have, it's only been mentioned like once. But honestly, with Blue Exorcist, I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, I think the lowest point of the series is the fact that there's a lack of fights. But it's a lot more character-driven drama. So if you're into that, you should enjoy the series. And if you like the characters, you'll have fun with it. I would say if you want to get into it, go for the manga. I'm not saying the anime's bad. I think the anime's pretty good up until a certain point. I think around episode 13, or 13 through 15, is when you should kind of say fuck the anime, because the anime goes into a ridiculous filler and it kind of panders off into bullshit. So manga, InsaneMangaCorner, Blue Exorcist, I think it's a good show. I enjoyed it. Tell me what you guys thought about it. If you're reading it or watch the anime, would you fuck with the manga and just kind of give me all? You know, I like the interaction between us. You know, this relationship, it's a two-way road. Two-way road. I'm trying to make sure that analogy makes sense. It probably doesn't. I think it does. Yeah, two-way road. Yeah, two-way road. You know, I kind of set the discussion board as the video, and you guys kind of chat in there so I can kind of see how you guys feel. If anyone's reading the Japanese version only, meaning they're already caught up to the latest chapter of the manga, or they're sticking with the American releases, because I'm actually a volume behind on that, purely because I've been dealing with a whole bunch of shit, like summer classes and fucking getting back from the con last week, but you know, just give me your thoughts and your comments in the comment section below. Video response is always welcome. Do you recommend Blue Exorcist? Do you think it's good? Do you not think it's good? If you've read it, if you caught up to the Japanese release through scanlations or whatever, do you think, does it get better? Are the fights coming? Like, whatever. Who's your favorite character? For me personally, I have to say my favorite, and I intentionally didn't mention Sure for those who want to know. All you get is a name. My favorites are probably Ren and Shamey, because I'm a biased fucker like that. And Shamey's too fucking cute. Leave me alone. I like the shy chicks. I'm a Hinata fanboy. What the fuck do you expect? Anyways. Anyways, this has been the Insane Game Freak, another Insane Manga Corner. Thank you guys for watching and supporting the videos. And life's a game, play to win. And I'll catch you guys later.